Alright, so over here at this little vertical bandsaw is where we get the lion's share of the steel cutaway, and then we go over to the grinder and get it down to the layout lines. Alright, that is the rough shape. Now we do the rest over on the grinding belt. See you over there. Alright, now we're going to move over to this 2x72 where I have a little bit better tracking control and get this thing down to these layout lines. In fact, we just want the layout lines to disappear. You can still barely see them all around the perimeter of the knife. I have a small wheel attachment I put on to do this. I'll do this little radius last. So I pulled the tool rest off there, and nothing fancy. I just take, this is a big ass magnet that I bought at Harbor Freight, and I can hold it against my flatten. I just do that until all this cleans up. It doesn't take long to clean up. Now I'm going to switch this over. Alright, that's clean enough for the surface plate. So we'll see you over at the bench. We've got our profile true to the pattern. So now we're ready to scribe grind lines that guide our bevels down to our cutting edge. And we'll scribe them here, 2 of them, and then a center line here just to keep us straight so we can eyeball as we grind. So I'm going to put some Dykem on here. It's early. Hear that cricket? It's about 5 in the morning right now. I don't know, if I wake up after the sun comes up, I feel like I've missed something. I've always never needed an alarm clock. I just wake up about anywhere from 4 to 4:30 every day, no matter when I go to bed. So anyway, I'll let this dry for a few minutes. We'll be over at the surface plate laying out some grind lines. At the first line on the scribe is center line. The steel is 126 thousandths thick, and I always order this 01 precision ground in what they call oversize. So by the time I grind the mill finish off and clean it up, it comes out to a pretty true 1/8 inch. So I'm going to scribe a center line here at 63 thousandths. And that leaves a nice sharp scribe that I just eyeball as I grind to make sure that I'm staying straight and keeping the blade symmetrical. Now I'm going to reset. What I want to leave is about 40 thousandths between two lines, and that is going to form where I grind my bevels from the back area all the way down to the edge, and then we'll plunge in from there at about 20 degrees for the cutting edge itself. So let me reset this. Okay, for the grind lines for the cutting edge, set the height gauge to 43 thousandths, and that's going to leave me enough material between the scribes. And I scribe these a little deeper, just so they remain visible long after this bluing is gone. It doesn't last that long. Okay, well there are our grind lines for the cutting edge. So now I'm ready to put my jig on that will guide my plunge cut. I'm getting ready to set my grinding guide. So I made a little pattern. I made one of these for the other model too, but all I do with this is this line here where it stops is where I want my plunge cut to start, and then that forms my bevels. So I just lay this over the blank and I get it all flush. And then I push it all back nice and square tightly against this guide, and then I just simply lock the guide. I tighten this thing up pretty good so it won't move. So that's it. Now I'm ready to go with the grinder and start grinding this, but using one of these, I can take a knife that I made 3 months ago and compare it to a knife I make a year from now, and they're going to look similar. And that's important. If you call it something a model of a knife, you don't want them to vary too much in the appearance. So anyway, we'll see you over at the grinder. We'll get this metal hogged off and start getting this into the rotary vise, get it fixed up. We're going to be heat treating this later today.